Did you know that buying a house is one of the first things you should spend your hard-earned silver on and no rest for the wicked? I recently spent 50 hours in early access to share with you exactly why that is, along with other essential tips and some mistakes to avoid to get you prepped and ready to go for 1.0 release just around the corner. By the end, you're going to have all the tools you need to gear up your character to set your enemy's world on fire.
Let it burn! Show these mainlanders Kamsakra is our island!
First up is to build it custom. This game encourages exploration of every corner of the map, so make sure as you come across those special spots and hidden areas, make sure to mark them with those custom map markers. There are two things that I've found really important to mark: blocked shortcuts and hotspot resources. Blocked shortcuts are like a ladder or bridge that are just out of reach. I marked those with stars on my map, so when I continue to explore the area, I have them to reference back to get a sense of where I may be able to kick down the ladder or Spartan kick the bridge to unlock a shortcut. These are really crucial to save you time and have more areas closer to fast travel points. And with the verticality of the maps, some of these shortcuts can be hard to see. Hotspot resource areas are where a bunch of resources like trees, ores, or fishing holes are grouped up more than usual in a smaller area. Mark these areas with pickaxes so I can keep coming back over and over to plunder resources. These give you more bang for your buck, making resource collection runs way more efficient. This may seem like a straightforward tip, but I can't tell you how many times I just completely forget to utilize this kind of map feature in games. There's so many things you can use the custom map markers for in this game. There's 12 in total, so you can get wild with it. The second tip is the foundation. The town of Sacrament's your home base in this game, and it is extremely important to continually upgrade it as you progress in order to keep your character powered up. Wood and ore are the foundation to Sacrament's building projects, and you're going to need a lot of it to upgrade the various vendors. I got distracted by all the fun I was having early on with the combat that I didn't focus on collecting resources along the way, so my town upgrades fell behind as a result. So don't make the same mistake as I did. Start collecting as soon as possible. There's pine, spruce, and birch wood, and then there's copper, iron, and silver ore. Here's an overview map for you, breaking down which locations have which resources that you can grab a screenshot of for future use. Here's a hotspot tree area I like to hit in the urban glades, right by the fast travel point. And there's also this hidden area just below Sacrament that has a nice collection of trees and even a couple fishing spots. And don't forget about the lowland meadows. This is a great area for that wombo combo of pine, spruce, and birchwood. The third tip is catch a big one. When fishing, you're going to be catching much more than just fish. And I don't mean sticks and seaweed. Every time you cast your fishing pole into the water, there's a chance of hitting the jackpot. You'll be reeling in gear and all kinds of other prizes, like gems and embers that are used towards crafting and modifying gear. Embers are probably the most important resource in the entire game, being able to craft those perfect pieces of gear. It's a huge payoff, and might be why the fishing in No Rest for the Wicked's been the first time ever that I've enjoyed fishing in a video game. Here are a couple of my favorite fishing holes. It's all about Marin Woods and Marin Village. There's 7 fishing spots right around the Harvest Road fast travel point in Marin Woods, and just west of Marin Village, you can find another 6. Fourth tip is independence and class. Health, stamina, focus, and equip load are stats that are independent of which type of character you choose to play as. So these will increase general overall stats and the weight of your character. In early access, the strength, dexterity, intelligence, and faith stats impact what weapons and shields you can equip. That's all they really do. What stats you choose to upgrade essentially put you in the class you want to be. I wanted to be a wizard that could use a mix of wands and staffs for hybrid melee and ranged attacks, so I put a ton of points into intelligence. Moon Studios has indicated that a diverse class system is going to replace the classless one for the 1.0 release of the game in October, so I can provide an update on this when it goes into effect. I hope the class system for 1.0 keeps the current flexibility it has of how you can mix and match stats right now, because you can make a lot of fun and very unique combination builds. The fifth tip is get that IV drip. While your character stats, stamina is one of the most important to inject that stamina recovery straight back into your character's veins. Just like in other Souls-like games, you're going to be using stamina for attacking, blocking, parrying, and dodging, so no matter what kind of character build you go with, you're still going to want to invest some attribute points into stamina. This will allow you to have enough stamina after avoiding enemy attacks to get in more of your own before they start swinging again. Even if you're a wizard that primarily uses the focus bar for rune attacks, you're still going to want to have stamina to get that separation distance from the enemy to perform your magic. So don't neglect it. The sixth tip is dash or smash. The fast, normal, and heavyweight classes don't just make you roll slower and use more stamina. It fundamentally changes how your character functions. If you're in the fast weight class, you can do a quick dash to dodge. In normal, you'll do a quick roll to avoid damage. But as a heavyweight, you'll have this really slow roll. But you can also get this big beefcake smash that shoves enemies to the ground, leaving them vulnerable for a follow-up attack. I prefer being a nimble wizard, so I put more attribute points into equip load. This lets me zip around the battlefield, dodging attacks, using my ranged ice laser with my staff to freeze the enemy, and then finishing them off with lightning. The seventh tip is respect my authority. You don't like how your stats are looking, or you want to change things up to use that huge two-handed greatsword that you just looted from a corpse? You can hit up that Respec station. However, you have to unlock it first through a roguelike section of the game called the Crucible. Don't worry, if you don't like roguelikes, it only takes a short time to unlock it. As you defeat enemies in the Crucible, you're going to be collecting these gloam seeds. You'll then meet the Crucible vendor during your run, and you can offer him 20 of these to unlock the Respec station. The Respec station will then appear as a stone statue right next to the Crucible Atrium fast travel point in the main Crucible hub area. From here, you can use Fallen Embers to reallocate your attribute points. One Fallen Ember equals one attribute point change though, so choose wisely. A bonus tip, if you aren't sure you want to blow up your whole character build for the cool new weapon you just got, you can try a weapon out free of charge even if you don't have enough attribute points. It won't do near as much damage, but you can equip it and try out its various attack combos and rune attacks to see if you like the moveset it offers. The eighth tip is get Icky. Flag Icker is an important resource that's going to drop for you when defeating bosses throughout the campaign. And there's up to 4 more each week that you can get through weekly bounty hunts from Captain Randolph in Sacrament. You can then turn these into the Watcher and the Rookery Tower to expand your inventory slots, utility rune slots, tool slots, main hand and offhand slots, ring slots, and your hunger limit. I recommend prioritizing ring slots, an additional main hand weapon slot, 1 additional utility rune slot at minimum, 1 additional tool slot at minimum, and then you can sprinkle in some inventory slots as well. Rings are extremely powerful because they give you huge stat boosts to your character, but they don't contribute any weight to your equip load. So max out all 3 slots as soon as possible. The additional main hand slot is going to allow you to equip another weapon, giving you a way more dynamic build. Having another utility rune slot can give you more options like being able to teleport from anywhere to unlock fast travel points, or be able to create your own light to see in dark places. However, you could use a torch, a fire weapon, or an ice weapon in a pinch if you need to see, to avoid using up that utility slot for it. Another tool slot is good so you can at least have an axe for trees and a pickaxe for ore. Lastly, inventory sucks in this game. It's very limited and it gets tedious, so expanding it early on is crucial, especially for gear, so you don't have to constantly go back to Sacrament to unload it. The 9th tip is home buying with benefits. Slam down your 30 silver for a house because it pays off in more ways than one. For starters, it's going to fix your inventory storage problems because you can place storage chests within it to organize and store gear. You're also going to need inventory space for gear that have great enchantments on them, or gear you want to use as the foundational piece for further modification to optimize the stats for the most power. You can also furnish your home to receive temporary buffs for health, stamina, and focus. Just slap down a cozy bed to catch some Z's, and your buff will be granted. The fancier you make your home, the bigger those buffs become. Also, don't forget to pet cats and dogs you see in Sacrament, because they give you buffs too that are going to stack with your house buffs. There are multiple house locations throughout Sacrament with different floor plans, so I recommend grabbing the one closest to the building projects vendor Maker Danos, because it's the closest to all the vendors, and it has a simple layout for easy organization and less traveling between the first and second floors. Trust me, you'll thank me later for all the time it saves you from running around. Another bonus time saver, Make sure to complete the elevator building project for Maker Danos so you can quickly get back up to the Rookery for more Plague Acre upgrades. And double bonus time saver, some fast travel points on the map need to be unlocked first. To do that, you're going to need to contribute items, so I recommend using useless items like the hundreds of mushrooms you're going to collect, or other similar more useless items like it, since they're going to be destroyed in the contribution process. The 10th tip is, vendor much? There's a bunch of vendors in Sacrament, but there are two you're going to really want to prioritize above the others, Eleanor and Whitaker, with third place going to Fillmore or Maker Danos. Whitaker's the man for all your homecrafted needs to get your house up and running and inventory needs in order. Eleanor's my gal for all rune and gear enchanting needs, who's going to help you create the best gear and weapons possible. She also sells wands and staffs, so that's a bonus for us wizards. Fillmore's needed for upgrading the weapons you fall in love with to higher damage tiers. And Maker Danos, well, he gives you access to the scribe table where you can research and unlock blueprints for weapons, gear, food, storage options, crafting stations, and much more by spending an item called research paper. Little bonus research tip. If you haven't found a certain item out in the world, you can't unlock its blueprint, but you can use research papers to hit that question mark at the scribe table, which is like pulling a lever on a slot machine to generate a random locked item blueprint as a reward. The 11th tip is with great crafting comes great power. The combination of Eleanor's enchantment services mixed with Fillmore's weapon upgrades and special resources called embers, you're going to become a crafting god. There are 4 rarities of gear: common, magical, plagued, and unique. Common gear comes with 4 empty gem slots, while the others have 1 empty gem slot and enchanted slots for the rest. Early on, just slotting in 4 gems in common gear can be quite potent. But as you progress, a magical item can be a nice upgrade from common, and they only come with positive upsides. Whereas plague gear is even more powerful, but it has 1 negative enchantment along with it. The unique gear have special gem enchantments exclusive to that piece of gear that can't be replaced. Therefore, the true build crafting is with the plague gear, because it has the most enchantment slots to experiment around with. The last tip is read the fine print. Modifiers on gear are crazy important to the type of character you want to build. Not all weapons have these though, but if they do, you have to make sure it's not going to be penalizing your setup, because they come with 1 positive and 1 negative modifier. For my nimble wizard build, I wanted to move around quickly, reposition, melee multiple times with my wand, and pop back at range to use rune attacks. So the agile modifier on my lightning wand allowed me to do just that. Agile provides more stamina gain, but reduced focus gain. Having that extra stamina gave me more chances to attack, which in turn built up my focus bar to unleash those powerful rune attacks. However, if I had a gear piece with the dense modifier, it would increase my weight tremendously, slowing me down and turn my poor wizard into a feeble old fart with a walking cane. Not good. All these tips that I covered are going to contribute towards what you need to build a powerful character in No Rest for the Wicked. I'll update my tips after 1.0 releases if there are things that change from what I've shared with you today, but a lot of these tips should carry over as essential ones for the full game. If there's a topic that you still have a question about, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll get you an answer. If you're still on the fence about whether to pick up No Rest for the Wicked, why don't you check out my video on why I think this game is looking to shake up the action RPG genre to bring a truly unique experience. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.